Hello and a warm welcome to the Selangor Turf Club for our barrier trials this Tuesday, the 29th of July, with just the 4 trials taking place. And take note that trials 1, 2 and 3 will be on track 2, and the final trial, barrier trial 4, will be on the sand track, all to be contested over 1,000 meters, and the runners and riders will be making their way down to the start shortly, and the field and riders should be up on screen shortly. There we go. Rubit Kid will be ridden by F. Yusuf, Roto Robot, Andre De Silva, Joe 296, J. Ikram, Fortune Tree, R. Shafiq, WO, Clyde Leck, and Pacific Flash will be ridden by Beholden. So a field of 6 runners making their way down to the 1,000 meter mark. And we are operating on a good track this morning. And a double header of racing taking place this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Trial 1 to come up shortly. Runners moving in for trial 1 of the morning. Rotor Robot steps forward. We're working on Rubik Kid for quite some time, who's backed all the way to the outside rail now and has now been called up into line. Rubik Kid, the only runner in this trial that is carded to race this weekend. Rubik Kid with the blindfold moves straight in. And now becomes very fractious in gate 1 is Rubik Kid. Just a field of 6 for the first trial. Joe to 9-6 moves in. Only 4 trials this morning. First 3 will be on track 2, and the last trial will be contested on the sand track, as they are currently working on Fortune Tree, who steps forward. 2 runners left to load, WO and Pacific Flash. Pacific Flash moves in, and WO will be the last one. WO moves in. 6 runners, trial 1 for the morning. Handler moves away, we're set. Gates are open, and they're sent on their way from the 1,000 meter mark towards the inside. Rotor Robot, the quickest to respond, goes to lead the field early on. Deep route pushing forward is Pacific Flash, racing just alongside. WO is also looking to improve around runners. Then battle on the inside. You've got Fortune Tree racing just ahead of Rubik Kid, and the bat marker for now is Joe to 9-6, only racing 6 lengths off the leader as they make the way past the 600 meter mark, and there's a new leader up in front. Pacific Flash has picked it up from Rotor Robot, 2 lengths back to Fortune Tree, who sits on the outside of Rubik Kid. Then 2.5 lengths further back to WO, that's racing alongside Joe to 9-6 as they whip them in. 350 meters left to travel. Rotor Robot now picks up the lead from Pacific Flash, who's starting to fade towards the outside. In behind that, you've got Rubik Kid racing alongside Fortune Tree, and they pull well clear of the rest of the field as they're into the final 150 meters, and Rotor Robot still in front by about 2 lengths. Rubik Kid starts to catch the eye, but it's going to be too late as Rotor Robots will win second place. Gets very close. Might just go to Rubik Kid ahead of Fortune Tree. Then in behind that, you have Pacific Flash, Joe to 9-6, and WO was last across the line. So Rotor Robots from the Jason On stable and Andre De Silva team up for trial 1. Lame near 4 went for the 2 weeks embargo and comes back in this trial and wins by about 2 lengths in the closing stages. A nice trial by Rubik Kid in second. I think he gets up for second. We'll just wait for the replay to roll through. And Rubik Kid gets his nose down just in time. So Rubik Kid second. Third place went the way of Fortune Tree. Then came Pacific Flash. Joe to 9-6 was in behind that, and WO was well detached from the rest of the field. So Rotor Robot, the winner for trial 1. Second place, Rubik Kid. Third was Fortune Tree. In fourth was Pacific Flash. Fifth was Joe to 9-6. And WO was last across the line. Up next, trial 2. The carded time 9:20, so approximately 7 minutes away. And the runners and riders for trial 2 should be up on screen shortly. Up next, trial 2, field of 6 runners. Starting off with Maida Sky, Andre de Silva, Northam Cafe, S. Shazman, Northern Beach, A. Nazir, Maida Reliable, Emzil Hilmi, Storm Deity, M. Atmazani, and Forget Romance, S. Bahoudin. So those are the runners and riders for trial 2, and they should be going down to the 1,000 meter mark in any moment. Runners moving in for trial 2. Meadow Sky, the first one. Field of 6 runners and 4 of them from the Frank Maynard stable. As Northern Cafe's next runner being caught into line. All of Meadow Sky, Northern Cafe, Northern Beach and Meadow Reliable having their official race trial this morning. Where Storm Deity was reported lame near 4. And Fredette Romance lame off 4, and both of them coming back from a 2-week embargo. As Northern Cafe is just a little bit fractious behind the starting stalls. Still waiting on Northern Cafe. It is proving to be a little bit troublesome down at the start. They'll take him away so long and they'll call in the next runner, which could be Meadow Reliable, I think. Meadow Reliable will be the next runner to move into line. Moves up and moves in. Storm Deity steps forward, half the field loaded away. They've put the blindfold on Northern Cafe now. Northern Cafe bundled up and moves in. So Northern Cafe finally loads away. Just 2 runners left to load, Northern Beach and Forget Romance. And then we'll be set for a start from the 1,000 meter mark. Forget Romance moves into the widest barrier. And the last to load will be Northern Beach. Northern Beach moves in. 6 runners, 1,000 meters ahead of them. Handler moves away. Second trial for the morning. And they're dispatched from the 1,000 meter mark. Towards the outside of runners, Forget Romance, the quickest to break, goes up to lead the field with Meadow Sky pushing forward, battle on the inside. A breakaway of 3 lengths in running to Meadow Reliable, that sits on the outside of Northern Cafe. Further back in the field, Storm Deity and Northern Beach is the back marker with about 5 lengths that cover them into the turn. 700 meters left to travel. Forget Romance up in front. At his girth and second is Meadow Sky, then a breakaway of 5 lengths in running to Meadow Reliable, who sits on the inside of Storm Deity. Losing touch with the field is Northern Cafe, now being passed up by Northern Beach as they're homeward bound with just on 400 meters left to travel. The inside is Meadow Sky, up on his outside Forget Romance. They pull well clear of the rest of the field. Currently in third, Storm Deity. As they're into the final 250 meters, Meadow Sky still the leader, only by about a length or so. Forget Romance up on his outside and making some progress as Storm Deity with 5 or 6 lengths to make up as they're into the final 50 meters. And Meadow Sky will win rather comfortably. Meadow Sky the winner by about a length and a half. Second place Forget Romance. Third, Storm Deity, a decent trial from him. And a long way back, you've got Northern Beach alongside. That would be Meadow Reliable. And last across the line was Northern Cafe. So Andre De Silva wins trial 2. Of course, he won the first trial. And he follows up here with the Frank Maynard trained runner, Mater Sky. A pretty nice trial from him. Will win by just over a length. Vedette Romance trying to cut back the deficit late in the trial. And Storm Deity was probably about 4 lengths off the winner, but a dozen lengths ahead of the 4th place also. A well spread out field as Mater Sky takes out trial 2. Second place for Vedette Romance. 3rd place Storm Deity. And then there was a big margin to the rest of the runners, as we'll just let the replay roll on by. On the outside, Northern Beach. The inside, Meta Reliable. And that's how it will be. Northern Beach will get up for 4th. Followed by Meta Reliable in 5th. And Northern Cafe was last across the line. And we lost touch with the field, turning for home. And was well beaten. So just to repeat the numbers. Meta Sky, the winner. 2nd place, Forget Romance. 3rd was Storm Deity. And 4th was Northern Beach. 5th place, Meta Reliable, and Northern Cafe, the last across the line. Those are the numbers for race 2. Up next is trial 3. And that should commence in about 7 to 8 minutes' time. It is the penultimate trial for the morning. And it is also the last of our trials on track 2 before we head across to the sand track for the 4th and final trial afterwards. Runners and riders for trial 3. Got the Al Roca filly to be ridden by Clyde Lack. Meta Crusader will be ridden by Zed Karel. A Mongolian Khan runner will be ridden by A. Azizi. Sir Ruby Esper Holden. Chiharu to be ridden by Andre De Silva. And Single Warrior will be ridden by Y. Ify. So it is a field of 6 runners, and I think Hearts of Gold has been taken out of this trial. So left with the field of 6, and they should be making their way down to the start shortly. Runners moving into line for the third trial of the morning. Single Warrior to move up into the widest barrier. Just a little bit hesitant at first. Now moves in. Field of 6 runners. Next to load is the Al Roca filly. Also have another runner here. It's unnamed on the barrier trial list, but I believe its name is Ramur. But we'll still call it by the breeding as a Mongolian Khan gelding. It'll be ridden by Azizi, but all the while the Al Roca filly steps forward. Next to load, Major Crusader. Shies away at the first attempt. Just a reminder, this is the last of the trials on track 2, and the final trial for the morning will be trial 4, and that will be on the sand track over 1,000 meters as well. So they're currently working on Major Crusader. He's having his official race trial this morning. Major Crusader straightens up and moves in. Half the field loaded away, 3 runners left to load. The Mongolian Khan gelding, also known as Ramur, steps forward. Sir Ruby steps into line, and the last runner will be Chiharu. Chiharu moves in, 1,000 meters ahead of them. 1 or 2 runners just to settle. Set. And they're off and trialing from the 1,000 meter mark, and the start has brought them to a pretty fair beginning. Along the inside, you've got the Al Roca filly that broke out well, and pushing forward is Major Crusader. Just in behind that is the Mongolian Khan gelding, who's also right up there in a prominent position, and these 3 lead the field heading to the turn, 2 lengths further back from the running to Single Warrior. That's racing just ahead of Sir Ruby, and the bat marker for now is Chiharu. That's racing 5 lengths off them. It's a close and compact field as they make their way past the 500 meter mark, and up in front you've got joint leaders. The outside Mongolian Khan gelding, the inside is Major Crusader. 3 lengths further back to Single Warrior, racing up on the outside of the Al Roca filly. Deep right on the track is Chiharu, racing alongside Sir Ruby. That brings up the field as they're into the final 200 meters now, and these two have been at each other for most of the journey. Along the inside, Major Crusader, the outside the Mongolian Khan gelding. Nothing splitting the pair. These two pull about 8 lengths clear of the rest of the field. And then they're going to hit the line together. The outside, the Mongolian Khan gelding, just going to get the better of Major Crusader. Battle on the inside. Then came Sir Ruby. Further back in the field, you had Single Warrior finishing just ahead of the Al Roca filly, and last across the line was Chiharu. So it's the Mongolian Khan gelding from the Siva stable. And on the website, it is apparently Ramur. However, on the trial list, they've got it as Mongolian Khan and just the breeding. So I believe the horse's name is Ramur. I'll stand to correction for that. Second place is Major Crusader, and they were well clear of the rest of the field. Third place was Sir Ruby, who finished ahead of Single Warrior back and forth. And then came the Al Roca filly back in 5th, and last across the line was Chiharu. So just to confirm those numbers, the winner, the Mongolian Khan gelding, also known as Ramur apparently. Second place, Major Crusader. Sir Ruby is back in 3rd. Single Warrior was in 4th. Fifth place, the Alarocca filly, and back in sixth was Chiharu. That completes trial 3. Up next is trial 4, the last of our trials for the morning. It's over 1,000 meters, and take note, we move across to the sand track for the fourth and final trial. Fourth and final trial for the morning. Carlo Goda will be ridden by Uzea. Rich and Powerful, S. Shazman, Major King, Andre De Silva, and Raising 61 will be ridden by M. Zaki. Just the 4 runners, and they'll be making their way down to the start shortly. Runners moving in for the final trial of the morning. Just 4 runners. Carla Droda was the first one to step forward. The rest of the field is Major King, Rich and Powerful, and Raising 61. As Major King's about to move into line, steps forward. And the 2 remaining runners, Raising 61 and Rich and Powerful, who is carded to race this weekend. Rich and Powerful. Raising 61 moves in. And Rich and Powerful will be the last one. Rich and Powerful steps forward. 4 runners, 1,000 meters. Handler moves away. Last trial for the morning. Set and ready. And they're off and trialing from the 1,000 meter mark, and the start has taught them to a perfect line. Rich and Powerful gets a few shakes of the reins to try and lead the field, but Major King's not letting him go all that easy, and Major King, in actual fact, heads Rich and Powerful to lead the field down the back straight. Deep out on the track is Raising 61 in the third, and a breakaway of about 8 lengths in running to Carla Droda, who's well outpaced in the early stages and is detached from the rest of the field. Change in order once again. Rich and Powerful now picks up the lead from Major King, who's dropped back into second, but only 1.25 lengths away from the leader. Then 2.5 lengths back to Raising 61. And Carla Droda's well outpaced and probably 20 lengths off the leader, turning for home as they're into the final 300 meters, and Rich and Powerful up in front. Now extends his margin to about 3 to 4 lengths ahead of Major King, then further back from the field to Raising 61, and last of all Carla Droda, who's been there from the start as they're into the final 100 meters, and Rich and Powerful's going to win rather comfortably at the end, and will win by about 5 lengths or so, hard held and not really asked too many questions. Major King in second, Raising 61 in third, Carla Droda crossing the line now in fourth. A pretty easy trial to end off the morning. Rich and Powerful from the EP Ton stable, ridden by Shazman. Pretty much, I wouldn't say start to finish. The front did change once or twice around the turn. But Rich and Powerful at the end, who led for the majority of the way, will win by about 5 or 6 lengths in the closing stages. Major King tried to match him up in front, but just faded out down the home straight. So that will run into second. Third place, Raising 61, and Carla Droda was last across the line in fourth. Thank you very much for joining us. That completes our trials for Tuesday. And of course, we've got the 2 race meetings taking place at the Selindor Turf Club this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So a double header of racing awaits. And some action-packed racing ahead this weekend. Can't wait to see you there. So just repeat the numbers one final time. Rich and Powerful, the winner. Second place, Major King. Third, Raising 61. And Carla Droda was back in fourth. Thank you very much for joining us. Until this weekend, farewell. And we'll see you at the races.